Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Player 3 podcast. I'm your host, Luke Croft. Alongside me, the always visually stunning Larry Hunt.
Hi.
And alongside him, Benjamin D. Hankins. The D stands for Dandelion.
Okay.
We are the Player 3 podcast. We get together every Monday and just talk about video games. And boys, what are you doing?
Drinking my Coke.
He just lapped his Coke like a dog. How are we doing, fellas?
Pretty good.
Doing good. We're doing real good.
Doing really well. All right.
We're doing fashionably good. Is that a thing you can be doing?
Yes.
Fashionably good?
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, we have absolutely no intro to this show, so let's just jump right into it by talking about the releases of the week.
Releases of the week!
That was the yawn remix right there.
Yeah.
All right. It's actually a pretty slow week on the release front here for the Xbox One. We'll start Xbox One this week. We never start Xbox One.
Bias.
Huh?
Because of your bias.
I have zero bias. I own both.
Oh. I have a huge bias to Xbox One.
For the Xbox One, we have The Walking Dead Season 1, the Telltale game, releasing.
Have you guys ever played that before?
I played it on the Vita. You played it on the Vita.
I played the whole thing, yeah.
Was it good? Should I buy it?
It was okay. It depends on how much they're selling it for. What are they selling it for?
These are questions I don't know the answers to.
Man.
Why don't you check that out for us?
I got it for free with the Vita, with the burrito.
And anything's worth it if it's free.
It was cool for being free, but it probably wouldn't have been cool if it was like $20.
Well, the story was good, and I think a lot of people are just like, "Oh, it's Walking Dead, it's awesome," and it was good. Telltale's actually going to be coming out with a Game of Thrones game along the same lines.
I mean, yes, it was a really good story, but it was just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no action in it.
It looks like it packages with plus 400 day first season plus 400 days Game of the Year edition for $30.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. Well, and that's going to be coming out next week for the PlayStation 4. Also releasing on Xbox One, we have Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition, which was an open world cop drama that released on the 360 and PS3 in 2012. Any of you guys ever played that game?
No.
No, me either. It's one of those remakes that I don't quite understand, because I've now talked to several people who are pretty big gamers who don't really know what this game is. So,
Yeah.
And then big release this week is the survival horror game, The Evil Within, which is coming out on Tuesday. And then for the PlayStation 4 this week, we have Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition coming out. We have The Evil Within, and then the release of EA's title that's been on Xbox One for a while now, Peggle 2, which is sort of a puzzle game. But probably the biggest release for this week, I think a lot of people are really excited about The Evil Within, but we also have PlayStation TV that's going to finally be hitting stores this week, and this is the unit that you can buy and have in your household. You can play Vita games on it, PS1 classics, but you can also remote play your PlayStation 4 in another room in your house. And Ben, I know you were talking about possibly getting this at some point.
I'm excited. I'm married, so I'm excited about having different rooms I can play games in. Although it hasn't really been a problem lately that I thought it would be to play in the living room all the time. So,
yeah, I think it's gonna appeal more to people who want to play Vita games with the luxury of a controller rather than the handheld screen. I think that's going to come along. But for me, the remote play on the Vita didn't pan out all that well, and so for something like that in my house, like, is it reliable? You know,
I loved playing the Jak and Daxter series on the Vita. Like, they had all 3 games that you could get on Vita, and I just didn't like the controls because in Jak 2, if you've never played it, you ride these little hover car things, and you can change your hover zone by using the back touch buttons. And I hated the touchpad on the back of the Vita, so it'll be cool to have controller usage and be able to play those games again.
Yeah, I hate the rear touchpad thing. It's awkward. I would have held on to my Vita a lot longer if they came out with a a modified case for it that gives you trigger access and uses like styluses to touch the back. But having to reach for that, it was always really weird for my hands. I feel like I have bigger hands anyway, and so kind of felt weird.
I have a question about this. You guys may or may not know. Is this PlayStation TV, has this been in the works since the get-go, or is this something that they just decided to do after the launch of the PS4?
No, this has been something that's been kind of in the works. It actually, I'm pretty sure it's launched in other regions as the Vita TV. It's called Vita TV in like Japan and stuff like that, which it kind of makes sense in those markets because portable and mobile are like the front runner, top tier platforms for people to play on because, you know, you're in the subway, pull out your Vita, pull out your cell phone, you're playing these games. And so give people the access to play on their televisions, show them how convenient it is to be able to play on your TVs, and then maybe that's going to up the sales of your in-home consoles like the PlayStation 4 in those markets as well. But I also think this has a lot to do, it's another one of those steps to get people to move towards digital content because you're down in the basement playing your PlayStation TV, your wife's upstairs at some book reading club or whatever wives do, and you want to switch games out. You don't want to go up and crash them because you don't know anything about Of Mice and Men. Yeah. And so my wife's staring at me now. She has like 6 book clubs scheduled for this afternoon. So go ahead.
Over grape. Just name a bunch of books you could have. The
Bible.
I noticed that their advertising for it also seems to be kind of targeting kids, which is something PlayStation doesn't usually like. They're usually marketing themselves as the hardcore gamer device, so I guess they're looking to recapture some of that younger audience that they may be missing out on.
Which I don't understand why. I mean, it's not like it's different games you can play on it. It's the games they already have out.
Yeah.
And so, who knows? They get paid more money than me to figure those things out anyway.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I'll probably end up getting one.
But it's only $100.
Yeah.
I won't be getting one, but it's only $100.
I'll probably end up getting one eventually.
Well, once you do, we'll talk about that. But with The Evil Within coming out, Survival Horror, just a quick little plug for what we're going to be doing either next week or the week after, sometime here in October. Every month we're going to try to set aside we haven't really named what it's going to be called, but just a special little 30, 40-minute episode that comes midweek where we talk about a specific topic. And for the month of October, it's all about scary stuff. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about our favorite horror games. So just be looking out for that. We're going to talk about top 5 probably. I'll be talking probably about my top 2 because it's all I've really played. So
all 2 of them.
All 2 of them. There are literally dozens of us. All right. Let's get to some reviews. We've had a chance to play some new games.
Jingle for reviews. I don't really have one.
Reviews with us.
I hate all the jingles.
I hate all the jingles.
I kind of like that one.
I hated it, and I made it.
Reviews with us. I just changed it a little bit.
Yeah, that was bad. All right. So Ben and I have gotten our hands on NBA 2K15 over the last week. We have some impressions that we have prepared, and I'm going to allow Benjamin to start because I have like a full page of
and
notes.
And I've got less 2K than you do, so I'll go ahead and do mine. This has just been a really, really... This 2K has been a... Let me make sure I'm not going to step on your toes by what I'm saying. This 2K has been one of those releases that have... It's made a lot of little changes that have made, like, the changes seem huge. Like, there's not a ton of, like, real humongous changes that they've made, but there's a lot of, like, little bitty things that just make it seem awesome. I know you're not a big fan of it, but I love the My Player mode.
Hate it.
Like the story kind of aspect of it.
Literally hate it.
Because I love RPGs and stuff, so I like hearing a story of what's going on, even though it's just a sports game. It's cool to me now that they have the voices over the veteran leaders that are going with you, and every aspect when you get on with the game, it feels like you're doing something new and you're reaching a new milestone. Along with that, I love the player progression system that they changed in My Player, where instead of doing each individual aspect like For instance, last year you had, if you wanted to be a good 3-point shooter, you would up your 3-point shooting attribute and your shoot off the dribble attribute and your shooting traffic attribute, that kind of stuff. And each individual thing had to be raised with VC. But in this one, you earn VC and you can up things like a playmaker attribute, which takes you through different levels and gives you speed boost and passing accuracy and different things like that, or like an athlete attribute that gives you speed and strength and finishing at the rim and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a cool change to me. It kind of breaks up the monotony of just grinding for VC to get a certain trade up. I think it's really, really neat. But I'll pass it off to you for a moment, and I'll come back.
Well, and I'll just mention my thoughts about the My Player. The story stuff, stupid as crap. Let me skip through that. Okay, you got a bunch of guys who aren't voice actors attempting to be voice actors because it's NBA players, and most all of them I've heard either while playing the game or watching videos about the real voices. It sounds like they're just reading off their script, like they're just reading a book. I picked up my book like the people at home to see it. And so all that stuff is dumb. The whole agent stuff, like if any agent would have pulled the crap the agent does in the first, 4 cutscenes, he'd have been fired immediately. Like, stupid. I would be perfectly fine with just being able to go in and play the game. Now, with that being said, the whole premise of you don't get drafted, and so you get to kind of, like, I think I got to pick between like 14 or 15 teams.
I had a lot of teams to pick.
And so, unfortunately, none of them were the Celtics, which was the only team I wanted to play for.
Did you select them as your favorite team?
Yes.
Oh.
Didn't get to try out for them. But you get that 10-day contract. I had a freaking awesome game for the Suns, so I think I'm going to be getting a full contract. I'll keep going with it because I like the progression. The progression stuff is a really good, it's a welcome change to just having 55 different categories to choose from. Now you really just have like 8 to try to. Now, do they still have badges?
Yeah, you still earn them. I earned.
Okay, so you have to earn them.
Yeah,
okay.
I earned a Spark Plug badge the other day because you have to. What's cool about the badges now is instead of just buying the badge, you actually have to do what the badge entails to earn the badge. Which is
I like
cool.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the less decisions I have to make on where to spend my VC, the better. I'm not the guy who's going to buy a headband or anything like that.
I went in and spent all my extra VC I got for the thing buying like a Magic warm-up suit and shorts and a t-shirt and a hoodie and stuff because I want to look fresh in the park, man. I want to go in and start just dropping threes on people.
See, I don't care about that. I think the park is going to be fun. I haven't had a chance to play around with it. Before we get to some negative stuff, because I have some negative stuff about this game, I'm really excited about it because there's some good stuff. I think this year 2K always takes steps forward in gameplay. I think this was a year where they made the biggest leap forward in gameplay. I think it just plays incredibly smooth. It's way less reliant on kind of those suction animations that you get stuck in and can't get out of until it's complete. One of the big things that it seems small, but when you're watching it, it's really big, is if the whistle blows for a foul, it's because for the most part you can see the foul happen. Whereas it used to just be okay, 2 guys went up and a foul got called and you really didn't understand why. And so I think that's really cool. There's also just little things like not as much accidental backcourt, when you try to go into a dribble animation, and it's I'd get 2 or 3 backcourt violations a game on 2K14, and I feel like I'm a pretty good 2K player.
Yeah.
But it's just you get stuck in these animations, it carries you back. There's way less of that sort of stuff. The AI overall has improved, and I know you play more freeform offense, which I run more plays, and on both of those fronts, it's deeply improved because when you're running freeform, it used to be your guys would just kind of stand around unless you called for a screen or ran some sort of isolation play or something like that. They wouldn't clear out. But now it's kind of based on the offense that you run. And so if you aren't calling a play, you're going to run some sort of pick and roll offense or pick and pop offense or the triangle offense or something, depending on what your coach's play call style is like. And then another thing I like in the play calling is when you're actually running set pieces, it's not dependent on you making the exact right pass at the exact right time. It used to be if you missed the pass, play over. Now it just goes to the next option. And so all that sort of stuff is really good to me. And then I feel like this year more than any other year, your defensive ratings really matter. My favorite team's the Celtics, but I also really enjoy watching and playing with the Suns. And so playing with the Celtics, they're not really a score-heavy team, but they have some really good defenders on their team. Rondo's a good defender. Bradley's a good defender. Brandon Bass, Jared Sullinger. And those people playing as a unit, I felt like I could really shut down the opposing offense if I played well enough. But then I played with Phoenix, and it's like, there's people scoring all over me. They're getting to the basket because I don't really have any bigs outside of Plumlee, and I can't really rebound the ball or anything like that because I don't have any just physical bigs. And so those sorts of ratings really matter this year as well. Any thoughts on just the gameplay itself?
I don't know how you feel about the shooting mechanic. I really like it. I think it's they tried to do it last year, but it's a new, like they're trying to really make it rhythm based. Like once you understand like the rhythm of somebody's shot, you can pretty easily knock down a shot if you're open. You know, if all the scenarios are right. But they try to make it more like your feet have to be set where you're going to be shooting, and like you can't just throw garbage up and it'll go down. I like how that is working. I'm even kind of a fan of the little bar on the floor kind of still too. But
yeah, I'm not. I think part of what makes 2K fun for me is that there's not a ton of heads-up display stuff in that sort of sense. Like the shooting is really based on watching and releasing at the peak of the shot. And
yeah, and I think you can still pull that off with now. But let's see. On your topic of defense, I love the fact that I can get burned on D if I'm trying to constantly like jab for the ball. Like I have to really stay in front and be wary of like how I'm moving, and I can't just like. I noticed like last year I could if I got beat a little bit I could I could hold down the sprint button and run to get back in front of my person I'm defending. But now like if you do that, they're going to do something crazy to like get around you if you try to sprint to get back in front of them. You just have to stay controlled the whole time and try to stay keep in front of them and guard them the best you can. I think that's really cool.
And even as far on that front as, let's say I'm playing like against Derrick Rose and I'm trying to guard him, with Derrick Rose, he's a good jump shooter and he can get to the basket, and so it's kind of like pick my poison. If I want to press him and play up against him, he's just going to try to run around me. Whereas if I sag off and try to take away the drive, he's going to kill me with the jump shot. So you have to make those sorts of decisions. The two reasons that I hate playing online against other people in this game is because they always spam the X button to steal, or the square button, and they always spam the 3-point line. And this year I feel like they've done a much better job at balancing those two things of like, you're not always going to hit 3-pointers, even if you're wide open, but you're definitely not going to hit them if you're covered. And the and spamming the steal button can really burn you as far as people getting around you or getting reach-in fouls. But there are some negatives. It's not a perfect game by any means, and I think the biggest one that both of us have on here are the server issues.
Yeah.
NBA is one of those games that we mentioned a couple weeks ago. It always has to be online, and people, like your brother-in-law was asking about which of these games to get, and he doesn't really have reliable internet access where he lives, and it's like, well, don't get 2K because
you can't play half of what you're supposed to.
You can't play it if you don't have internet. And upon release, their server issues were terrible. How was it the first day when you got it?
It wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't. It was pretty bad. I had.
It wasn't. Yeah, it sucked. It was horrible.
I just have I have a hard time, like, if I'm going to get a game, I want to be able to play it. I preloaded. I was smart, and I took my game home during lunch and like preloaded it and everything, so I didn't have to play. I didn't even play the Spurs Heat game. I just went straight into playing it when I came home, which is pretty cool. But the fact that if you, the thing that makes me so upset, I guess, with it is most of the time when I got kicked out of a game or got kicked out of the My Player lobby or got kicked out of the My GM lobby or whatever, it was because it couldn't it couldn't figure out the history of the VC transactions that I had made. And it would say I couldn't connect to the servers to understand the transaction report history for my VC, and that I would sit there for 5-10 minutes. Excuse me.
Don't
5-10 minutes trying to get back into the game lobby to be able to play my game again, and it just keeps saying we can't connect, and then it would eventually pull me off the 2K servers completely, so where I couldn't access, I couldn't even access my player or the what's the new thing? My
GM.
Not the other one.
My league.
I couldn't access any of that stuff, and it was just, I don't know. It was, I just feel like if I'm going to get a game, it's kind of like we talked about Battlefield. It was last week. If I'm going to buy a game, a brand new game, I want to have a game that is playable, even if I want to. My internet's not the problem, I guess, is the thing.
Yeah, my thing is, if you're going to release a game that requires me to be on your crappy servers all the time, make sure they're not crappy servers. Yeah, exactly. All right? Exactly. Like Destiny. With Destiny, I didn't really have much. I haven't had many problems at all.
We played for that whole night. We got the game. And yeah. I don't remember getting backed out once. We may have gotten slow into a game one time, but I don't remember really having any issue with server problems at all.
And we'll talk more about server issues here in a few minutes, because Driveclub has just been the epitome of server issues. Uh-huh. But you have this game, and it requires an online connection, which I don't understand. I don't understand why it always needs to be contacting the servers for me to be in those modes. Why it can't just store those things on my hard drive.
I do to a point. All the content they're trying to push into it, like, you don't care about my players, like, cutscenes and stuff, but think about, like, the amount of memory it would take up doing those things all on the disc.
But all that is based off the disc. The only thing that's communicating with the servers is what I'm spending my VC on, and that's really about it. And then my saves are hosted online.
Well, every time I go into a cut, it seems like it's having to load the cut. Like, it's taking a long time to...
It has to do that anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, all that stuff's on the disc. The only thing the server issue is affecting is VC, the NBA Today stuff that gets pushed in, and then the fact that all of your saves and stuff are hosted online. And so... just unreliable server issues really plague this game, and then just some things that aren't really. And then I'll mention a couple of things about my GM, but we're still in the negatives. I think 2K has always done such a fantastic job with presentation. Like it does the best job of replicating what you see when you watch an NBA game on TV. I think NFL is more of an I'm there event, whereas NBA is more of a I'm watching on TV event. And so where like Madden tries to focus a lot, well, they've shifted focuses, but they used to focus so heavily on the on-field experience. NBA, 2K has really strived to replicate that broadcast stuff. And so this year they added in the 2K TV stuff, the pregame show with Shaq and Ernie Johnson, and it's bad.
Yeah, no Barkley, no Kenny Smith, man.
I know. It's so bad. It's like the information's totally irrelevant. Half of them end up with just some like pointless banter back and forth between Shaq and EJ, and it's just. I'm interested to see in my GM mode if the more I go through, if they kind of like adapt and talk about the season as I'm going through, because that would be okay. But for right now, I like that it replaced the loading screen. Because there's no loading screen. It goes directly into that. I do enjoy that, and it shows all the starting lineups and those sorts of things. But other than that, I just...
My thing is, does it have to have 2K, like, plastered everywhere on the thing? Like, 2K Sports, 2K Sports, 2K Sports, 2K Sports. 8 different logos on the back of the freaking... Those are small things, but...
Well, I think one of the biggest things that they could do is to get a licensing deal with, like, TNT. And say... We want your broadcast package to bring in here, because I feel like they're always tweaking it and overhauling it. And if you want to add to the immersion of the pregame show and the television style broadcast, bring in TNT broadcast stuff. And so, and then another big thing, and my brother and I were talking about this earlier, is Steve Kerr is a commentator on the game. However, Steve Kerr no longer commentates because he is coaching the Golden State Warriors. And so, like today, I was playing a game in my career. I play with the Suns, and I was playing against the Warriors, and their coach is Steve Kerr, but Steve Kerr is also commentating my game. And that may seem like it's not that big a deal, but it's like, it's another one of those things that just removes the immersion. How can Steve Kerr be coaching the game and commentating on the game? Exactly. It makes absolutely no sense. Go ahead.
I see the potential for 2K to fix the. I mean, those are, and in the grand scheme of the game, those issues are. Well, apart from the server issues, those issues are minuscule in the grand scheme of how fun the game is to play. Because the game is a ton of fun to play. I love how the game goes, and seeing their from 13 to 14, the huge leap that was, and of course it was a new console generation, so it's that's part of the reason. But even from 14 to now, there's even like starting the game in the home screen to go to the menus to see like where I want to go is 100 times different than 14 was. Way better, I think, than the way like, you got that weird bubble and then it's just like you scroll through and pick what you want to pick.
Oh, the menus are.
And all the additions they have made to everything, I have faith that they're going to fix the Steve Kerr problem, and I have faith that they're going to fix the just crappy pregame show problem. They still haven't given me faith to about the server stuff because they had server issues last year.
They always have server issues. It's a 2K thing. And then another thing, and I wanted to ask if you've been experiencing this. As I'm playing just in a regular game, not a MyPlayer game, there's sometimes where they'll start talking about like a graphic overlay, like stats, and it doesn't come up, and then I can't X through. Like I can't skip to go to the next inbound, and it's like I just get stuck having to watch the referee just stand there with the ball before he gives it to my guy to inbound it, or I get stuck like having to watch the cheerleaders do their dance routine, and I can't skip it. Like,
yeah, I think that's something stupid they added. I don't really care about the cheerleader dance routine. At least make their uniforms look like different than just random slashes of color.
Yeah, I don't even care enough to comment on it. So, let's see. Just a couple quick things about the MyGM. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to play MyGM.
Very little.
But there's some things that I really enjoy. The trade logic is awesome. Like I was trying to trade Gerald Wallace, who's one of those overpaid guys. He's got 2 years left on his deal, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we'll take him if you throw in a first round pick." And I'm like, "That's probably how every team in the NBA will be this year if you try to trade him." And then another really big thing is that you have the individual team game plans, so you can set your rotation that is for every team, but then you can go in and say like, okay, I want to change my minutes for players when I'm playing the Heat, or I want to change my matchup stuff when I'm playing the Bucks, or something like that. And you can change it for every individual team. But I enjoy the game, and the stuff that's wrong with it isn't just so wrong with it that it ruins it for me. But I think it's stuff that needs to be worked on. If not in this iteration with updates, and definitely in next year's version. Any final words from you on?
It's a great game, and I think the positives far outweigh the negatives to me.
If they can get the server stuff sorted out.
Yeah, they can get the server stuff sorted out. But I feel like it'll be playable enough. I mean, server. I've come to the realization that there's always going to be server issues. There's always going to be problems with their stuff. But if they can get it enough to where I can play 75% of the time, I don't want to play it.
Gosh, you got low expectations.
It's like 35 right now.
Speaking of low expectations, people did not have low expectations of Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, which is a game that I have been playing the last couple days, and I got to tell you guys, I love it.
We're done with sports?
We are done with sports.
All right.
But this Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor game is awesome.
Gosh, it looks so pretty.
I was just playing it with Seth and Ben here before you ended up getting to the house, and it's so much fun. Like, the story is incredibly immersive. And we talked about the story last week, so we don't really have to talk about it much anymore. The Nemesis system in action is even more fun than watching the video of it in action because you really do like develop a hatred for these guys. And there was a point where I got into this fight with one captain, and 2 other captains show up. So I'm sitting there with 3 captains trying to fight me, and their whole horde of orcs and uruks trying to fight me as well. And I had to run away. And it's like, you can't go into every fight with the expectation that you're going to win every fight. Yeah. And that's a huge deal to me. Like, in most games, it's like, if the game allows you to get to this fight, it's because you can win it. And there are times in this game where you get into things and you can't do it.
There was I'm sorry. Well, I've been talking for a long time. You go ahead, Reddit.
In losing a fight, is it you restart at a checkpoint, or can you actually have to retreat? And
if you get killed, you know how in Assassin's Creed where you have these vantage points? Yeah. They have the same thing. You go to these vantage points, it unlocks the map. If you get killed in a fight that isn't like a mission-related fight, then you get sent back to the nearest tower that you have unlocked from where you died.
The people that killed you gain power.
They gain power, yeah.
Oh.
And they can be promoted. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to go fight the same exact person. They remember you from your fight before, and they're stronger because of that fight, because of beating you in that fight.
And to that same thing, one of my favorite people you fought today was that was like Nuku the Friendly or something. I don't. But he was like, every time you meet one of those named characters, they'll greet you in some way. It's usually a terrible thing.
Greet is a very mild word for what they do.
You guys will get in like a sword clash, and then they'll say like how they're going to disembowel you or kill you or something. But this one guy was just
the way we greet each other.
Yes.
This one guy was very complimentary though, because his name was whatever the Friendly, and he was very complimentary to the guy's skill. He said, talking about how friendly they were and stuff. It was actually kind of cool. And but the cool thing, taking it one step further with that system, Luke actually killed that guy. And later on, as he was running around, that guy came back to life and remembered Luke.
Yeah, it ticks you off. You're like, I thought I killed you. But I think the only real way of guaranteeing that they stay dead is you cut their head off. Kind of like real life.
Like spiders.
Okay.
Yes, like spiders. You burn those with fire.
You've got to salt and burn the body too, so with spiders.
I was real nervous with this game that it would just become kind of a button mashing fest, because in the beginning it's just X, 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 X. Oh crap, there's a Y. Press Y and you block the X, 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 X. But as you, like, especially in the fight where I was fighting against 3 captains, like, you have to be strategic about where you're moving, what you're doing, and then the more abilities that you have and the special attacks that you have, the more conscious you have to be of when and where to use those sorts of things, because you don't always use them just when they become readily available. And there have been so many times where I'm fighting a captain and I want to try to interrogate him or something like that, and I end up killing him, and it's I never get mad in a game for killing my enemy. Normally in a game, if you kill your enemy, it's a good thing. This time it's like, crap, I just killed my enemy.
Right.
So yeah, Shadow of Mordor. Pick that game up. If you have not gotten that game, pick that game up.
If you can find a copy. Well, if you want to buy a used copy, like I'm trying to wait to buy a used copy, but
and I think that is the biggest testimony to how awesome this game is, because you cannot find used copies of this thing. I got so lucky finding mine. You cannot find them. So speaking of games you can find used copies of, Destiny. You can find a lot of used copies of it because some people were disappointed, but our boy Larry, the always visually stunning Larry Hunt, has had a change of heart as of recent.
I don't know if I'd go with change of heart just yet, but my icy heart is thawing. Finally got to play the raid. Finally got to a high enough level, and we ran. We're not all the way through it. That thing is horrible and hard.
Oh, it's going to restart this week too, by the way.
Yeah. If we don't beat it tonight, it's done.
Yeah.
But
what time does it reset? It's not at midnight.
Everything seems
7.
I believe everything seems to happen at 3 for Bungie. But
that's midnight for them because they're on the West Coast.
Yeah. But
everyone's like, did the podcast play?
But that was a lot of fun. That's what I wanted. That's what I hoped for from this game, was running through a thing with a bunch of friends and just killing a whole bunch of people.
I'm excited to actually do it.
With a little bit of strategy melted in, correct?
Oh, you've got to have strategy. You have to work as a team or you're not getting anywhere. In fact, there's the one part where we changed our strategy probably 10 times, trying to figure out how to get through it without dying.
Do you guys have a full team?
No, we are running through it with 5 people. And one thing I will say about it is all 5 of our people weren't up to level 26, which is the recommended level for the raid. And that caused problems. Me and my friend Sam were only level 24, and we were probably liabilities more than assets to our team going into it. There's a lot of places where you have to hold points, where you've got to split up, and you've got to be smart about who you pair up, who you send to which points. And the classes come into play. You're gonna want to select your specials that you're gonna be able to do a lot of damage to a lot of people instead of just a lot of damage to specific targets. And one thing that I found that we just couldn't get through without, I don't think, is there's a section where you wind up being attacked by hobgoblins from all sides. And
I hate those things.
Yeah, and they're up on these elevated floating pillars off in the distance. You can't get to them. You've got to snipe them. But they're spread out and have so many angles that they can just hit you from so many places. And one of our guys running Titan chose his subclass where he could use that force barrier, and that thing was a lifesaver. If not for that, we wouldn't have made it.
You said something about it reloads faster or something? I think you were telling us about it, and it was because my thing is, like, that would be cool, but the shield, your super takes so long to reload. I wonder, like, how long of a downtime you'd have in between putting it up and then hiding from, like, how would you hide from the goblins while he's getting it back up, you know?
Yeah. And I'm trying to read something real quick to make sure I don't just say something blatantly wrong. But
which is our favorite thing to do here at the Player Free Podcast.
Yes.
Like to be as well informed as possible.
As ill informed as possible.
Well, when he throws that barrier up, the Titan's weapons reload much more quickly. He can switch weapons more quickly once you've leveled up your abilities enough. All of your skills have a chance to create orbs of light, which is real helpful for your team.
Right, yeah.
I started running Blade Dancer for this because you can attack more enemies with it than the Gunslinger thing. And he keeps me going into Blade Dancer over and over. It gives each of your teammates a sort of shield almost when they go into it. So,
and I think I've seen that in multiplayer or the PvP because it gets my nerves so bad when I see like somebody coming out with 3 bars, a blue bar, a red bar, and a white bar, and a red bar, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to kill him.
Yeah, and I don't run Titan, so I can't speak to how this works very well. But my friend Andrew was telling me there was something about it that enabled it to recharge more quickly. Because he was throwing that thing up real fast.
Did you guys have a Sunsinger?
I'm not sure about anything about the Warlock classes, to be honest.
I run Warlock, and the Sunsinger class I've been using for the majority of how when I play my... Right now I'm trying to get my Sunsinger class up to completely full. And one of the abilities that you get from your super is the abilities for you and your teammates charge way faster. So like if I use mine, I can throw my grenades quicker. I can do my melee ability faster, and I think it makes your super charge quicker too. So I don't know if that's a thing, but
and then there's the fact that you're just killing so many enemies. You cannot help but to get your super charged up really quick.
Well, and if you're around people who are also using their supers, he's probably picking up orbs of light. And I think the way you generate orbs of light when you're using Ward of Dawn is the more damage your shield takes, the more orbs of light you generate. And so I'm not positive I'm pretty sure that's correct. But and you can't pick up your own orbs of light, but I mean, there's people left and right getting supers, so there's orbs of light laying everywhere. Yeah,
there have been situations where I'll run through just this sea of orbs of light and charge all the way up, use my super, and then run through the sea of orbs of light again and charge up again.
It's a glorious, glorious sea.
I meant to say this earlier, but going in at a lower level, you're going to do a whole lot less damage to your enemies.
So is every enemy you encounter level 26?
Honestly, I can't remember the exact levels, but I feel like that is the case. I feel like that is the lowest they get.
Because I know, like, when you're doing a strike, you get to go through some lower level enemies before you get to the level that your strike is at.
I don't think that happens. And much like the rest of the game, you don't get any instructions about what you're supposed to be doing, really.
Not even Dinklebot?
Dinklebot doesn't even talk this time.
Man.
He's just
That's probably the best part of the game.
It's fantastic. So yeah, the raid has been really enjoyable, but also incredibly difficult, and we have not beaten it yet.
Well, and you only have several hours to do so after the podcast, and so
we'll probably be starting over.
To get that beautiful shader.
And the raid equipment too. Like you get don't you get armor for the like a raid set of armor for completing the raid?
I think the only thing you're guaranteed to get is the shader. And there's Engram drops through it, correct? Do you get crazy Engram drops?
I didn't get anything awesome while I was in there, but I mean, there's stuff. You're killing so many people, you're picking a lot of stuff up. And one of the best hand cannons in the game, I've read that you can get it as an item from a loot chest, rarely in the Vault of Glass. So
how does I've been curious about this. Since you've I'm eating this delicious pumpkin bread, I'm sorry. Since you've gone through it and you guys are a pretty good ways through it.
Yeah.
How does like leaving that and coming back to it work? Like
you just pick up at whatever checkpoint you were at, but you have to have the same party. You can't drop anybody, you can't pick up somebody.
Oh, okay. But you can go to orbit from where you were at in the mission, and it'll bring you right back there when you get back to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, the first night we left because a lot of our group just got so frustrated we couldn't continue. Mm-hmm. And then when we came back, we actually had a further checkpoint than we thought we had.
Oh, cool.
So that was nice. And I'll just reiterate that you have no instructions, so go into it being ready to fail many times trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I've been trying to avoid walkthroughs of it because I kind of want to be surprised. I want to go in with it being a fresh experience, because I think one of the things that kind of affected my judgment of the full version of the game was there was so much to do in the beta that there was no mystery left.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's a totally different topic, but I wanted to go into this knowing that it's fresh. Now, how many raids are there supposed to be by the end of it? Like, are they planning on releasing another one, or?
I think one of the expansions is a raid, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there are raids in the expansions. I don't know how many.
But I'm hoping it's not just like one raid every time they put out some DLC, because I'm going to need more than that to keep me interested in this game.
Yeah, well, you got to beat the one that you're...
Yeah, before you start talking about
Although, that's going to be real frustrating if you guys don't beat it tonight, which you probably won't, and it's got to reset. Although, it's probably one of those things, once you kind of have an idea what to do...
We'll get through it more easily than we did the first time. It's going to take some time, but we'll get there. And we'll do better now, because last night I spent some time getting up to level 26, so that won't be such a burden to my team.
Yeah, I need to... I'm so bad at, going and getting the materials that I need to upgrade and all that. It just doesn't really hold my interest all that much. And so,
yeah.
I think I'm level 25 though, so I don't have very long to go. Maybe we can try to jump into it sometime this week. And
I'm 27, and everywhere I've heard, as far as the leveling system goes, and I was talking about that, the raid set armor, everywhere I've heard, you can only get to a 30 by, 30 is like the cap for this segment of the game, I guess. And you can only get to 30 by getting the raid set armor and upgrading it all the way. You can't get regular armor like exotic and full legendaries and then get all the way up. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true, or if you definitely get raid set armor stuff from the raid or what.
I totally forgot. There is another aspect of Destiny that we are yet to talk about this week that I don't have in the show notes. The Iron Banner opened up last week.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys get a chance to play?
I did. I found it a little bit more enjoyable than...
It was a lot of fun, I thought, yeah.
I liked having my weapons not balanced. It was nice.
Mm-hmm.
See, my problem is I only have rare weapons right now. I haven't played enough really to get many legendary drops.
I just recently got a legendary assault rifle, and I like it a lot. But I'll get it mostly rares too. It's still awesome though if you know what you're doing. It makes it the people that have been trying to take advantage of like just really crappy weapons, but they're balanced, so they're just kind of running around with shotguns and stuff.
Like me.
It takes. Oh, okay. Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Make your point.
It just kind of weeds those people out. Like you can actually, if you have gun skill, you're actually better in Iron Banner than somebody who's just running around.
Well, there was a couple games where I feel like I did work, even with my rare pulse rifle and whatnot. But like, I think it's much more dependent on running around as a unit and kind of. Mm-hmm. I love that it's all control that you're playing rather than just team deathmatch or something like that, or was it Clash?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoy going in with your own equipment. I was really nervous that I was going to get in and it was going to be like kind of like you're playing the game, you know. And if you're a level 24 going up against a level 30, you're not going to be able to do much of anything. But because there's still balancing issues that they had to take into account when opening up the Iron Banner, because I was getting killed by like level 11 people, and stuff like that. But I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it gives me more of a sense of attachment to my character. It makes me want to have better stuff because I'm like, what we were talking about before. It kind of gives you that choice engine of wanting to have the better things to kill people with. So, yeah.
And all I run is rare weapons too. I just got my first exotic weapon. It's a heavy machine gun called the Zombie Apocalypse. But
right up your alley.
Yeah, so perfect. But yeah, I didn't find that to be too much of a hindrance.
I got my first exotic bounty for Bad Juju, and I'm waiting to finish it. I gotta do 18 more strikes to be able to have it done. So.
I don't even know I haven't even gotten an exotic bounty, so screw you guys.
I don't have one.
Oh, screw you.
Did you just get that in a drop?
Did I say exotic?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
you meant legendary.
I meant legendary.
Oh, I was about to say, dude.
The purple one.
Yeah,
the purple one. Larry Hunt. The L stands for liar.
My middle name is A. Well, my initial for my middle name.
My middle name is A.
My parents weren't really creative that day.
All right. We done with Destiny?
I think so.
That means we're closing Destiny out for the podcast. There's no more Destiny for the podcast.
I'm just going to trade it in.
We're trying to actively not bring Destiny up 8 times a podcast.
I know it's hard.
Which I think we already did it talking about 2K. We brought up some Destiny, but I think it was talking about servers, so
yeah,
it was necessary.
It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
All right, I'm done with Destiny.
Done with Destiny.
I am done with Destiny, and while we are done with Destiny, we are going to get started with the news.
News with the podcast, guys.
All right, we have several different items to mention today, starting with the one that we mentioned when we were talking about server issues. Driveclub.
Stupid.
Is highly anticipated. Too much of a word.
Yeah. I think PS4 highly anticipated it, but
the mildly anticipated title Driveclub for PlayStation released last week in a shell of itself, basically, because where they had been promising that this was going to be free to PS Plus users, and then they went back on that and said, we are going to give you a portion of the game for free.
2 cars, 10 tracks.
Is that official, or did we just hear that from the GameStop?
Well, I've heard that from several different people, so
okay,
I feel like it's...
well, it turns out that the PS Plus edition did not release at all. So the only way you can play this game is to buy the physical release copy of this, or I guess digital release as well.
Which, for the record, would not have been a big deal if they wouldn't have harped at the release of the PS4 that this is going to be a free game to PS Plus members. If they would have never said that, I would not have a problem at all with it being the only way you could play it.
But that's not the reason that you can't play it. The reason that they're not allowing PlayStation Plus members to download this game right now is because they are having such terrible server issues at the moment. Mm-hmm. The game is programmed to default to online. And so when you log on to this game, it is immediately attempting to contact the servers. It is possible to play this game offline. Mm-hmm. There are offline modes that you do not have to communicate with the servers to participate in. However, because of it being programmed to default to online, they have been having such terrible issues now with just the flood of people who bought the retail copy of it, the full release copy of it, that they don't want to flood it even more with all of the people like me and you, Ben, who are just wanting to buy the PS Plus, download the PS Plus version to test it out to see if it was something that we enjoyed. And so, server issues, delaying this game. I have never once witnessed a game that is delayed after its release. The game has been released and yet it is delayed.
The new record.
They have about
new record.
They have about a week to solve this thing before I'm just like
I'm already like week's over with me. I don't really care.
I still want to play. I enjoy racing games.
I mean, I'll probably get it when it goes free, but I don't really care if I get it or not. If it's delayed a month, who cares? I'm done with worried about the game.
And I feel so terrible for the developers of this game because it's just been blockade after blockade after blockade for them. And all the hype surrounding this game was all Sony's doing, trying to just push this as this is the next generation of racing games. This is the next generation of social titles. And because of that, there was all this pressure on them, and they didn't deliver. It's not a new experience. And so, but a new experience that is coming out for both Xbox One and PlayStation 4 later this year is the racing title called The Crew.
Good segue.
Yeah, that was a good segue. I didn't try to make that one bad. However, some bad rumors started to surround itself. It started to swirl around last week as some people online started to say that The Crew was going to have a pay-to-win microtransaction basis. Those have since been denied, saying that performance parts and those sorts of things will not be included in the game. But microtransactions are going to be a part of The Crew. And I guess this is less to do with The Crew and just more about the culture of gaming, but microtransactions.
I think they work if you set up a regulation for who you play. Like if you in the basis of The Crew, if you're going into like an online race with people, and there are people who have purchased like all these aftermarket like cool air intake junk and all this stuff that's going to make their car fly like it's a spaceship.
Vertically?
Yeah. Then set up a ranking system where you're put in matches with people that are on a similar skill level as you. I think if you do that eliminates the cheese people who just purchase like a bunch of crazy parts and their parents just give them $100 to buy all this junk on a game, and you have a more fun experience with the game as a whole without having to spend another $80 on a $60 game that you're already, you're trying to just level up the stuff. What's up?
Who cares that much about winning?
People. I don't understand. Have
you ever spent a dime on that sort of stuff?
Here's the thing. That's why they have... we started playing that Star Wars Commander game. That's why they have 14-some thousand crystals for $100 on a phone app that's already free.
I want to see the stats. I want to see the stats and see if anyone has ever spent $100.
You realize it's the first option, right? I bet people buy it on accident all the time. They have like one touch buy on their phone or something, and they hit it by accident, and it automatically buys it. Like, no, go back.
I have never once bought a VC package in 2K, an Ultimate Team package in any of the EA Sports games. I've never once bought any sort of microtransaction thing because I don't care that much.
I think it takes away from the game. If you're like, I'm trying to think of a good example. In the VC purchase stuff, like if you're buying VC packs to upgrade your player on my player, what good is it? I mean, you're just going to have an awesome player 2 weeks into the first year of your season, and you have nothing to work towards. There's nothing to build up to, and I think that's the same thing, especially with games like this, where it's all about customizing your car and getting your car better to race better people and to race different places, and I mean, my thing is if people want to do it, that's fine, but I think it needs to be implemented into like I said, a ranking system to where it doesn't affect how I play because I choose not to spend $30 extra or $40 extra or however much extra on a game that I already paid $60 for.
What if they just had two completely different like lobby systems where we're going to put everybody in who hasn't paid a dime into it over here, and then all the people who paid for microtransaction stuff into it over here. So it's just them competing against each other and me competing against the smart people.
Yeah, they're not going to do that, though, because they want more people to feel bad that they can't win and maybe buy more of their stuff.
What? Servers?
We're just talking about server issues. If we do that 2 different lobby system, and that's going to be like...
I don't think so. It would just be marking a player to say...
Yeah, maybe that's true. But I agree with Larry in the fact that they want people to feel like crap for not buying their microtransactions. Like, man, that guy just beat me, and he's like, I don't know if the cars will have levels, but that guy just beat me, and he hasn't gotten anywhere near as far as I have in the story. I got to go buy like a new engine or something, you know. And
I think Larry would have spent $25 to buy the zombie apocalypse gun.
No. Here's how I feel about microtransactions. I hate them, and I hate everyone who buys them. Because if every gamer on the planet stopped paying money for microtransactions, I'll take it a step further. If people stopped buying stupid DLC that was only a few more story missions, or only a little bit more to the game, or whatever, developers would stop getting away with that crap. But all of you buying that stuff and funding it, I think you're an idiot.
Okay, I bought the expansion packs for Destiny.
Yeah, he hates us.
Yeah. Well,
but my thing is, but I think you have to remember this was a response to GameStop cutting into these sales.
Yeah, I know.
And so it's not all wrong. I totally disagree with the model of, hey, give us $10 for this part and you'll be able to beat anybody in a race. If the thing I'm purchasing gives me an advantage to beat other people who haven't paid for it, you're stupid.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Mm-hmm. And I don't mean all DLC. Like the Elder Scrolls games, their DLC it's almost a new game that you buy. But so many games are just blatantly butchering their story and putting some of it off for later just to make it another few dollars, and it makes me angry.
Speaking of
Is there a specific game that you must not go back to that game?
Speaking of companies that butcher things in order to sell them later, Activision has announced...
Great segue!
Activision has announced...
Segue of the week. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Take 5. Activision has announced that Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is going to be cross-buy on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. So that means if you buy it on one console, you'll have it on the other. And I just have one thing to say about this. This is very un-Activision-like.
I was amazed when you told me that. I thought that was just, kudos to you, Activision.
What happened? Did they
I don't know. I don't know.
Is this game horrible? Has anybody seen reviews of it? Is it terrible? Because that may be an explanation. Hey, come buy this game. You can play it on both platforms, even though most people don't own a PS3 and a PS4 that they normally play.
I have no idea what the marketing decision behind this thing is. I guess what they thought was last year, let's not do this with Ghost because we want to double dip. Because people may buy it on PS3 and then later it out the PS4. I have no idea what the strategy is except for maybe just to say, hey, we're going to try to regain a little bit of trust in some people who have lost trust in us.
So it's entirely free on PS4 if you buy the PS3 version?
And vice versa, yes.
Okay, so it's not like a $10 upcharge to upgrade to the PS4?
No, it is cross-buy. If you own it own it digitally on one, you will own it on the other.
That's just amazing to me.
I don't believe you.
I refuse to believe it. Well, I have a link that is in our show notes, I believe. Do I not?
No,
I don't. I will find that link and I will give it to you so that I can make a believer out of you.
I'm kidding. I believe you.
I'm a believer.
Speaking of things that we'll believe when we see,
better segue.
Sony has announced, and I pronounced that correct. Sony has announced that the firmware update 2.0 is going to be here soon. Can somebody,
I believe that. I believe that.
Can somebody email Mr. Sony and Sony at Sony.com? Dear Mr. Sony, soon is not a time frame, all right? Soon is like a relative word to whatever you want it to be. Because I am tired of them always saying, soon. And firmware update 2.0, really the only thing that's been confirmed in this has been the share play functionality, where you can play remotely with somebody else, kind of like... Have you heard about this?
where they kind of jump in your game and take control for a little bit?
No. This is different than that. This may hold the support for that. They haven't really announced to me clear. What SharePlay does is, let's say I'm playing FIFA, and Ben wants to play FIFA with me, but he doesn't own FIFA. He can remotely connect with me, and we can play against one another. Oh. I own it on Xbox. We can't play it together.
But that means you can play Minecraft with me and Seth.
Possibly. I guess it would. Is Minecraft split screen?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's limited to an hour, but there's no limit on that hour. So you go for an hour, you get disconnected, you come back, and you immediately reconnect. So,
that'd be awesome.
Not complete. Well, you got to get rid of that CenturyLink internet probably.
Yeah, I'm probably end up getting off of that. Here's the thing. Here's why I believe you in saying that. Because at first I said I don't believe that it's going to happen, that Sony's going to, the firmware update's going to be out soon. But I believe it because of the wonky timeline that soon entails. Because soon is definitely not a timeline. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Wholeheartedly concur. Is that the statement that I usually use?
Yes.
Okay.
So the only thing they've confirmed in this thing is SharePlay. What else are you hoping for, Ben, as a PS4 owner?
Maybe like a third of what they promised us at E3 still. We still haven't seen... we've seen the PlayStation Now stuff, but I didn't realize that PlayStation Now was going to mean that I had to pay, $15 to rent a game for an hour?
It's not that expensive, but it's expensive.
Close to that.
It's like $4.99 for 4 hours with it or something like that, which is stupid.
And the 4 hours isn't playtime. That's 4 hours of loading and everything, right?
Well, after it's done loading... You have 4 hours from the time it's done loading to the end of the 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
Not gameplay. I'm hoping that one of the things I'm hoping for is folders to organize my crap in. Mm-hmm. I am hoping for some custom themes because I'm getting kind of tired of the blue. Mm-hmm. And then one that I'm not sure is going to make it in there is the suspend and resume function. That's
something I would really love to see.
Where I can put my console into standby, come back. I love that about my Xbox because I was playing Shadow of Mordor last night and stopped to come watch The Walking Dead, which was awesome this week, by the way. And then woke up this morning and jumped right back in without having to load. Like it went right back into the start screen. So I'm hoping for that. Let's see. Next item on the list. There's no segue there. Assassin's Creed Unity is going to be running at 900p 30 frames per second on both consoles. Did you guys see the story? Because it was kind of wonky.
No.
The developers were talking about it, and the quote that they had was, "We decided to lock them at the same specs to avoid all the debates and stuff," which sparked a huge debate across both communities because you read into that and you have to understand what it means. Xbox One wasn't going to be able to handle the 1080p 60 frames per second, so they locked it at 900p 30 frames per second. Because Black Flag, I believe, ran at 1080p 60 frames per second on PS3, and then 900p 30 frames per second on Xbox One. And so it was just a crap storm all over Reddit and all over forums and all over the comment section of every article I read about this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they decided they downscaled this thing for the X-boners.
Sounds just like every debater I've ever heard.
Yeah, seriously. It's stupid. Yeah. But then they tried to clarify. They said, we did not lower the specs of Assassin's Creed Unity for any one system. Which is bullcrap.
Obviously you did.
Yeah.
No. They just didn't heighten them as much as they could have for one system.
Oh, we didn't downscale. We just didn't upscale.
We're all politicians.
Oh my gosh. I really don't care. Like, I don't know how many.
It's going to be awesome regardless.
I don't know how many people can really note the difference. In the 30 frame per second thing, they were like, it's more... It lends itself more to the adventure style cinematography that we're using in this, and I'm like, dude, just call a spade and say, hey, we just kind of wanted it across platforms, just to.
It makes sense. I don't want to have to worry about keep maintaining different things for each system. It just makes sense to have it one way.
Ubisoft needs to understand this.
Ubisoft, you
are never going to avoid the debate and stuff. Every decision you make, the internet is made up of the vocal minority of people who just get really upset about these things.
Yeah.
like disproportionately upset about these things, and so I don't care. But the even cooler news is that there's some rumors swirling around that they are going to be releasing Assassin's Creed Unity and Assassin's Creed Black Flag in a bundle with the Xbox One that will include, Larry, get excited, the Kinect, which is something that has not been featured in the bundles they've been releasing so far.
And I just don't know. I can't imagine life with an Xbox without a Kinect.
I know. I love that I can talk to my TV, and then I also love that I can go to other people's houses and ironically talk to their TV, and then judge them when their TV doesn't respond. So
in fact, I was looking up instructions earlier on sharing clips and stuff for Xbox One, because you can tell your Xbox to record things, and in their instructions, there was no option of go and click this. It was say this to get to this menu. So I like navigating the Xbox without the Kinect. I feel like is going to be a nightmare.
Which, I mean, people have been doing it, but I feel like it's so much simpler just to say Xbox, go to Minecraft Xbox One Edition. That's one thing I wish they would change is you could have shortcuts rather than having to say the whole title, like Xbox, go to Minecraft, rather than having to say the entire name of it.
Do you have to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's better than click the home button, go over to it, click on your games folder, go to it, click it to launch it, like, just to be able to say it. It's one of those first world problems.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I got to say 6 words rather than 4. But I hope that they start to bundle more things with the Kinect again, just because it's such a useful peripheral. And people, it's one of those things you don't understand how useful it is until either you have it or you see someone else using it that has it. Speaking of functionality for the Xbox One, another good segue. Phil Spencer has announced that in a future update, the Xbox One will be adding themes, backgrounds, and my favorite part of what he announced, screenshots to the Xbox One. It's one of the things I never understood why Xbox doesn't have this. Like, you can say Xbox record that, but you can't say Xbox screenshot that. So they're going to be adding those sorts of functionalities. Larry, you're an Xbox One user.
And that's actually what's prompted me to go look at the video sharing options earlier. I'm excited about screenshots. There have been a lot of things in Destiny. I'm like, man, that's really cool looking. I wish I could just snap a picture of that.
I wish I could show it off that I'm dancing on this dead guy's body.
Yeah.
Like my screenshot I have on my Facebook page because I have a PS4 and I can share
Exactly like that. And here's something I hope that they will bundle along with that, although I don't think they have any plan to do it. Right now, you can only share your videos on the Xbox community. There is no way to share them to Facebook or YouTube or anything.
Can you not pull them off with a flash drive?
I'm not sure, but on their website it specifically says you cannot yet share them with.
Yeah, you have that like OneDrive folder or something that you have to put them on.
Yeah,
it's real.
I'll be honest. If they couldn't automatically put it on Facebook for me, I wouldn't be putting it on Facebook. I'm not going to go through all the.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, it says game clips are only shared on Xbox Live at this time. So screenshots are cool, but like nobody's browsing through no one's clicking through the Xbox like, oh, well, let's see what kind of screenshots Larry's throwing up this week. Besides Luke.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I've watched every single one of your Xbox record that clips. So, just because you're better at video games than I am,
Perusing.
like Titanfall. Speaking of games that Larry is better than me at, Halo is not one of those. So
that's debatable. We'll see.
Gosh, I'm so sad I'm not going to be able to play it.
1v1 me, bro. Set up the lobby. Set it up. And then you get into the lobby and we're playing 0% speed.
Rocket launchers.
With 500% gravity. It's pistols only. It's just, that's what I would always do. I'd troll people. And then tell people, I hope that they bring this back where I get in a lobby with like a 12-year-old and they're talking all this crap and I want them to get out. I'm like, hey man, you want this code for infinite ammo? And they're like, you know a code for infinite ammo? I'm like, yeah, you just got to real quick, B up A. And so it's B to back out, up to go up to yes, I confirm I want to back out, and A to accept the yes. And so then they back. It worked so many times, it was ridiculous.
I was just telling them to set up the lobby, and then I don't show up, and every time they send me a message, I'm like, yeah, just hold on, I'll be right there.
Oh, I like doing that too. Yeah. But I did most of the time set it up to be a lot of gravity, no speed, pistols only, and I'd run around the whole time looking at the ground.
Which, I know we're off of new features for Xbox, but I do want to mention this real quick. There is no voice messaging option yet.
Is there not?
You have to type everything.
I loved that part
Yeah.
of my 360.
So I usually go to send someone a message, and then I'm like, never mind. This takes effort.
But a big part of that is there's very few games that I've really talked to. No, that's not true. Destiny's really the only one that I don't talk to the other team on. But Titanfall, we have some memories. We can't talk about those right now, though. So we're talking about the Master Chief Collection.
Things from random people.
What? The Master Chief Collection is releasing in less than a month, boys and girls. I think we are now at 29 days. I'm so sad. Whoop, whoop. And with that, they have announced all 401 achievements that are going to be available to unlock on this. Larry's gamer score is going to be skyrocketing.
Or one of the
in
platinum
1 month.
the all the trophies? Is that one of them?
What? You don't platinum games on the Xbox One, you noob.
Noob.
You noob.
Noob sauce.
Yeah.
There's one challenge I saw that was complete a story mission without jumping.
Huh.
That'll be interesting.
I don't feel like that's possible in Halo. That's the only way you can walk. Because, I mean, especially like Halo 1, Halo 2, and you couldn't sprint in Halo 3, could you?
No.
How are you going to do anything without jumping? I guess you'd have to play Halo 4. You could sprint, right?
Well, you don't actually move faster when you jump. You just feel like you do.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what you're actually doing. It matters what you feel like you're doing. It's like truth. I don't care if it's really true. It's just I feel like it is. 401 achievements. How many of those are you planning on getting, Larry?
I don't actually actively hunt achievements.
Yeah, I'm not big into that either.
But-
you?
I like achievement hunting. Yeah.
But if there's one community of gamers that has always been crazy about hunting achievements, it's been the Halo group. So this is good. Giving them 401.
Dude, a lot of those achievements, though, if they bring the achievements back from like Halo 3 and like they bring the original achievements back, a lot of those achievements are hard.
There's some that I did pursue just because they were really fun. Like the end of Halo 3, I think it was. Instead of taking the Warthogs, you and 3 other people have to take Ghosts and get it through the final sprint while everything's falling apart.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like one was like mow somebody down with a mongoose. Like that's almost impossible in multiplayer. Like one is I always try to get the.
Do they have to be an enemy?
yes.
It's gotta be PvP. But the one I always try to get for every Halo game was beat the game on Legendary, or what's the one with the face of the Force, the swords and the shield and everything. That's Legendary.
That's where I start the game.
Yeah.
Oh, my name's Larry. I'm so good at everything.
Just Halo.
That's true. You are good at a lot of stuff, like being visually stunning, running in 1080p, 60 frames per second,
And Ultimate Frisbee.
and Ultimate Frisbee,
And kind of soccer.
and having his eyes swell up when he exerts himself.
Yeah.
And telling Luke to die in a fire.
Speaking of dying in a fire, you can set zombies on fire in Sunset Overdrive, which has gone gold and is set to release on October 28th. I think we have made it very, very clear already how excited I am for this game. I really hope that I can get it when it comes out. Guys, if you know any way we can get games for free, just hit us up at player3podcast@gmail.com.
Or systems for free, because I'd really love an Xbox One.
Well, don't get pushy, Ben.
I want it.
I have $5 of Bing rewards coming my way here soon. I just got to keep searching on that crappy search engine. Bing, powered by Google. All right, here we go. We started a new segment last week, and we were gonna call it Totally Unrelated Games Question. Did you have something to say?
No, let's do this first.
Totally unrelated.
It's not totally unrelated. This is just kind of a random story. Normally, when we talk about a topic, we have a story that it tags along with, like The Crew. We pushed into Microtransaction. This is just going to be totally unrelated to the topics that we've talked about this week. You guys, my favorite part about this is you are totally unaware of what the question is going to be.
Oblivious.
Totally oblivious, because it's written on my notebook and not in the drive.
So
All
this is titled what now?
We have very few titles for anything. This is called the totally unrelated to this podcast question of the week.
The totally unrelated to this podcast question of the week.
That's awful.
I feel like people stop listening when we get to those
They don't like the jingles?
Okay, here's the question. Start thinking. We've seen many time periods covered. Many story arches covered that have happened historically in video games. What is a time period of history you would like to see a game take place in that either hasn't been covered at all or hasn't been covered in the nuanced way you would like for it to be covered?
I feel like no one's ever done World War II.
What?
I was about to say. It's like,
all right. Well, I'm going to leave on that one.
So here we go.
Yeah, can we get some Jeopardy music in the background?
So people know their headphones are working.
So something that's never been covered, like
it can either be something that has totally been never touched, or just something that has been not touched in the nuanced way you would like to see it touched.
Can I have two answers to this question? Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea, so you just go ahead when you're ready.
I'll give you my first answer.
All right.
Like the Paleozoic era. Like, I want to be a dinosaur.
You want to be a dinosaur? Which leads me to my next question. We'll get to that in a minute, though. We'll come back.
Yeah.
Be thinking about this. Would you rather be a dragon or own a dragon? All right. So you want to play as a dinosaur?
Yeah, I just feel like it would be cool to live in that time period. Or you could be like a caveman. Like, when were caveman in those eras? When were they?
The caveman.
Was Jurassic when cavemen were there around?
I'm not a dinosaur doctor.
I don't know. Okay. Well, any dinosaur doctors out there, tell me what era they were.
Any dinosaur doctors, email us at player3podcast@gmail.com and tell us how we can get some free games up in here, all right?
But, I don't know. It would be cool to, like, have to scavenge and live in that time period and, like, avoid dinosaurs and make, like, little, like, tools to fight dinosaurs with and stuff. It would just be kind of neat.
I feel like very few tools that you could have invented back then would help you in a fight against the dinosaur.
Like a tree gun?
One of the things, and this is funny because you said it ironically, the World War II stuff. I want to see an Assassin's Creed game happen during World War II, and the whole end game is I have to assassinate Hitler.
That would be kind of cool.
Or FDR. I pick sides.
Which side do you want to pick?
I pick my side. and if you pick the side that kills FDR, your gamer tag gets banned for life. But we don't tell people that going in.
Yeah, I like that. I'm trying to think of a real answer.
That was a real answer.
Yeah, I like that.
Thing.
I like that.
Just
but there's
been
another
a
one
while.
that I've had this debate in my brain before, and I've never really enacted on the.
Does Turok count as survival horror? Because I was terrified while playing that game sometimes.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Because I'm like, because you're fighting these like overpowering things, and they can just come out of nowhere.
I felt more like I was in Jurassic Park though than I was in like an actual era of dinosaurs.
I never once got the porta-john I was in eaten.
It wasn't a porta-john; it was an actual bathroom.
Was it?
Yeah, it was an actual bathroom.
Fair enough. All right, Larry, do you have an answer to this question yet?
Like, I'd like to see. It's been done, but it's never been done well. Like some sort of like 50s noir, like detective kind of thing.
LA Noir.
Was that a good game?
It was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my answer sucks. There we go.
I'm trying to think of other
like pre-prohibition, like right at that crux of time. That would be like.
I want into prohibition.
Yeah, like going into, and you have to. You're a mobster, like having to like cart like stuff around. Like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're like a bootleg smuggler.
Yeah.
And you have a flapper girlfriend.
You do a lot of coke.
Is that the same thing?
You do a lot of coke before coke became illegal.
Oh, all right.
The pipe dream.
It just occurred to me what a weird time period that was. Because you could go to prison for alcohol, but
not
coke is
cocaine.
fine.
Marijuana was still good too.
They just didn't understand the effects that it had on you. They put it in their sodas. It was good. It made you feel jolly.
Coca-Cola is the medical drug, the medical soda. That's why everybody felt joy. Grab a Coke and get happy.
I feel like this would have been a better question had we been made aware of it before. I wrote this question like 20 minutes before we started the podcast, and so I have very few ideas as well.
You know what else is a time period that don't actually do very well in video games? The present. Like, we don't ever see games in the present. Like, it's always a distant future or like a war-torn past or something, but it's never like the present.
I feel like no one at any point in history has ever understood what's happening right now.
That's very true. But I also think within that, it's you walk an incredibly fine line in trying to make stuff incredibly relevant to today's game. And like, imagine if Call of Duty released a game right now where you were fighting against ISIS and how ill-received that would probably be.
Yeah, it'd probably be terrible. Yeah.
And so to try to delve into something that's considered an entertainment medium to try to add social commentary to what's going on in the present day world, I think would cause some backlash that the gaming industry just doesn't really feel like having. Think about the mission in Call of Duty.
Yeah, the one where you had to go to the airport.
Where you had to go in the airport and just...
That was recent, though, to 9/11.
I'm saying, and see how ill-received it was by people who weren't Call of Duty fans.
You know the thing,
even by some people who were Call of Duty fans. They had to add an option screen that said, take that mission out if you wanted it to be taken out. You know what the craziest part about that mission is? And this is totally unrelated to what we've been talking about, but you could have done the mission without firing a single shot at a civilian.
Yeah.
But did you play that game?
No.
You played it.
Yeah.
Did you mow through civilians?
Oh, yeah.
Me too. And it's like, what does that say about me?
I thought you had to.
Maybe they just did a poor job in communicating that. But yeah, you can do the whole thing walking through the airport and not firing off a single bullet until you're actually fighting the enemy. But
aren't you like an undercover person in that?
Yeah, and you're trying to stay undercover by running this mission with them. But the point being, back to what we were talking about, that like trying to add that commentary of what's going on in the present day is sometimes not received very well.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
And so it's much better to make a game about the French Revolution than it is about ISIS.
Yeah.
Even though the French Revolution was a terrible, terrible, terrible time.
Like most revolutions.
Like that was like
like most generations where you pour your chamber pot out your window.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a very horrible time.
Speaking, I had one. Well,
go ahead. No,
I felt like I had one more time period that I really wanted to Do they do anything? Do they have any games like in the 20s?
That is Prohibition era, right?
Is that Prohibition era?
Yeah.
Okay, well, never mind then. I retract my statement.
I don't even know what kind of game you would have it within this, but I may feel dumb bringing it up, but like there's really nothing there in the 60s either, and maybe it's another one of those like sensitive.
Vice City wasn't Vice City like 60s, 70s?
But what if you took it from the other side of like something that dealt with the civil rights movement, like some sort of game that was involved in that sort of venue? And yeah, it would be a difficult push, and you need to stop whispering because it's not picking up people.
You'd have so many people that want to file lawsuits.
It would have to be well done. It would have to be incredibly well done. But like, it's such an engaging time period. Like that was one of my favorite time periods to study in history. But it's engaging, and there's so many avenues you could take it from. Whether it's the Black Panthers or the peaceful movement that Martin Luther King had, or something like that. Go ahead.
And speaking kind of to that. I just started thinking about the Assassin's Creed idea that you had about World War II and going and assassinating Hitler. Why don't Assassin's Creed? Why don't they attack like famous assassinations? Why haven't they done?
Why don't we assassinate Hitler?
Yeah, but I mean seriously, like why haven't they had like a John Wilkes Booth assassin or John Wilkes Booth? What's the other one? Templar. He's been on one side or the other, and he kills Abraham Lincoln, or
Well, are we to that point yet?
They've done that, yeah.
Well, we haven't gotten to the Civil War.
It's quite there yet, but I mean, it's we've passed the Civil War.
But this idea of a civil rights movement era game, like, it could be a great teaching tool.
Yeah.
But like you said, that is
You
a
have to be
live
careful.
mind.
It would have to be like a Naughty Dog studio, like someone like that doing it who was super good at intricate storytelling and really engaging you. And I think rather than it being a commentary on the entire movement as a whole, it would have to focus on like the personal individual struggle of a person. But it's just one of those things that's been untapped, and that was just kind of... I'm glad you guys didn't hear it and think, man, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life.
No, it was pretty good. I liked it.
Speaking of dumb ideas, this one's not. We're doing 24-hour streams for...
Wait, the dragon question wasn't real?
Oh, would you rather be a dragon or own a dragon?
Own.
I'd rather be one.
I'd rather own one.
Is it a fully trained dragon, though? Like,
Yes.
there's no chance of the dragon eating me or setting my house on fire?
Nah.
Is it like a big dragon, or like a little baby dragon, or like a Komodo dragon? A bearded dragon?
All right.
Moving on.
we digress. All right. Back to our 24-hour streams. We're going to be doing the Extra Life charity fundraiser 24-hour streams. Larry is probably going to be doing his on October 25th. I'm going to be doing mine on November 1st. Ben is to be determined.
Probably November 8th.
November 8th. We'll get you details on that as soon as we can, and that's for the Children's Miracle Network. We're going to be building hospitals, getting our doctorates.
Building children's hospitals.
Yep. Yeah. And which hospital were we supporting? Do you remember?
We are supporting the Lynchburg Children's Miracle Network Hospital.
Central Lynchburg General and Virginia Baptist Hospital.
Yes, those are words that make up the name of the hospital that we are supporting. Our goal is $1 million.
Our realistic goal is what?
600.
Okay.
$1 million.
And is there a link they can go to if they want to contribute to our team?
Yeah, let's wait for the three of us to all get registered and get on there, and then we'll do what we got to do.
Okay.
All right.
Sound good?
Cool.
Sounds
Sauce.
great.
And then I'll set up our Twitch pages to have the link underneath there, and it'll say help Player 3 Podcast become Dr. Player 3 Podcast. And
We get doctorates out of this?
yeah.
Sweet. I always want to be Dr. Ben.
Dr. Ben. I'm naming my son Dr. Croft, so if he gets his doctorate, he'd be Dr. Croft. It'd be awesome. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's go around. Let's just do whatever social media you would desire them to find you on, rather than Twitter, since you never use Twitter. So
Or
probably
any
just
social
Twitch for
media.
you.
Twitch, yeah. Twitch for me. My Twitch handle is HuBombTrady. I stream Madden. I'm probably going to be streaming Shadows of Mordor, maybe. I don't know. I really want to get that game, but I'm talking myself in and out of it. I stream Minecraft and Destiny. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You can find me on Google+. Plus.google.com/+LarryHunt.
No Twitch for you? Yeah, so.
Oh,
Have you got your Twitch stuff?
yeah, my Twitch is Larry Hunt Zombies. I've streamed once. For 5 minutes.
Statistics.
Live stream with Larry.
Remind me at some point, and I will get you all set up on the Twitch series to where your page will display all of our stuff. Just remind me. My Twitter handle is @TK from Antioch. You can find me on Twitch at Lodger Blackman. That is also my PlayStation 4 gamer tag.
I guess you could
handle.
add this on PlayStation if you wanted to.
Yeah,
That's my handle still.
HuBombTrady.
Yeah.
And then you can find me on Xbox One at... What is my Xbox One? Download a Hoagie. That's right. Okay, and we're Player 3 Podcast. You can find us everywhere on the internet at Player 3 Podcast. I'm going to be keeping up more with the Twitter page now that all the craziness of the last 3 weeks is behind us. So find us on Twitter at Player 3 Podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Blueberry, Stitcher, Podbean, all kinds of podcast services at Player 3 Podcast.
Things and stuff.
Also going to be keeping up more with our blog as well. Going to finish that one about that midnight release that ended all midnight releases for TK from Antioch right here. All right, but we are Player 3 Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Possibly twice.
Player 3 Podcast!
P3P.